Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the pre-market overview. Today is August 13th, Thursday, August 13th. So happy Thursday, everybody. Hope your trading week is going well so far. For those that might not have joined us before, my name is Becky. You can email me, becky@tradewithufos, if you have any questions on anything we go over today. There's also the support team, support@tradewithufos. Again, being a team, much more likely to get to you quicker. So you can email those guys, support@tradewithufos. We're all traders on the team, so always happy to answer whatever questions you have on that email address as well. Okay, so again, for those that might be new to the overview, I'll just explain what we do. The main body is that we go through the newsletter that we send out. So the newsletter is sent out every day, Monday to Friday. And in that newsletter, we cover 4 of the major markets in the world. We say where we think they're likely to go to, where we think price could turn, how long we expect them to move in a particular direction, volatility, and high impact news that could impact the markets as well. So we do the pre-market overview for 15-20 minutes in the mornings, just to expand on those concepts a little bit more, explain how we're using the technology, where we get the figures from, for those that want a little bit more depth into what's going on there behind the scenes with the newsletter. So if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, you can email us at newsletter@tradewithufos, and we will put you on that subscription list and get that sent out to you every day, Monday to Friday. So today being a Thursday, for those of you that are joining us from within the Tradictive channel, we have stocks and investing sessions at 9 a.m. and then 1 p.m. Eastern respectively. A reminder that on Saturdays and Sundays, we have our sharpening sessions, which will be methodology reinforcement, going over concepts, theory, question and answer, and psychology sessions as well. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we have futures and options. So just a reminder there of the schedule. In terms of upcoming live courses, where we do a full, sometimes 2 days, sometimes 3 days, sometimes 7-day course, the next one we have here is the psychology course. That is August 15th to the 21st, starts at 5 p.m. Eastern. After that, we have futures, then trading plans, and then this one at the bottom here is the next upcoming back testing class we have. We will have other classes in between. You can check the schedule on the website just to see what we've got going on. Okay, I need to put the disclaimer on the screen there. It's a long disclaimer, so I won't read it to you. Hopefully you can read it as we go there. Now, of course, you're welcome to mute me if you want to just read it on here. You can come back and pause the video or watch it again if you want to look at the disclaimers there. Or you can go to www.youcantrade.com and get additional disclosure information on the website as well. In essence, in a nutshell, what we're saying there in the disclaimer is that what we're showing you are ideas and demonstrations. It's not meant to be trading advice. And of course, there's a risk involved with trading, and you should be aware of that risk before you do trade. So again, more information if you want to look at it from reviewing the video, pausing it, or looking at the website. Okay, now that we've done all of that sort of housekeeping stuff, let's go and have a look at the newsletter. So this is what we send out every day. As I said, we go through 4 of the major markets in the world. So weird box situation there. There you go. So we have the S&P, one of the major equity indexes or indices in the world. We have oil and gold, both major commodities. And we have the euro, which when looked at as the euro-US dollar, that is the highest traded currency pair in the world. In fact, the US dollar just by itself is responsible for 80% of transactions worldwide every day. So fair to say amongst those 4 markets, and obviously in particular that last one, covered a lot of what goes on out there in the markets every day. Now we use a daily time frame. Of course, different things happen on different time frames. If you trade really small time frames or maybe weekly or monthly time frames, things are obviously different and will behave in different ways. So we've used the daily because it does seem to fall within what most people do. Whether you're a long-term position trader or investor or a short-term day trader, often the daily does come into play there. Now, for each of the markets, we go through climate, which is essentially what trend are we in? What direction is the market moving in? What environment are we in? Is it upwards or downwards? And what are the probabilities associated with that? And we also linked to that is propagating. If we are in an upwards climate or an upwards trend, how long can we expect to keep going upwards for? If we're in a downwards climate or a downwards trend, how long can we expect to keep going downwards for? So again, it's based on statistics and probabilities telling us on the right-hand side what the average movement is, what the normal or statistically probable movement is to a particular direction, whichever one we're in. And on the left-hand side, that tells us where we are relative to that. So I'll come back to propagating a little bit later. We also look at nearest UFOs. So UFO stands for unfilled orders. What we mean by that is where we expect there to be big stacks of buy orders that could push price upwards, or big stacks of sell orders that could push price downwards. And where do we see those orders on a chart? That's what we use our Auto UFO app for. It's finding those areas on a chart for us, finding where those big stacks of buy and sell orders are, and showing them to us. We use our Auto Climate app to let us know the climate and the propagating figures and probabilities. Now for each market as well, we're going to come down and understand volatility. Volatility meaning how fast do we expect markets to move, or how far do we expect them to move within given periods of time. Now, the volatility figures come from this column here, the current implied volatility. Everything in this column is a percentage, as you'll notice, and it's also annualized. So it tells us the movement we expect in these markets within 1 year as a percentage of its value. Now, the numbers that we see here come from the options of these markets. So for those that don't trade options, basically with options, there is a risk of assignment or exercise. There is a risk involved depending on how quickly these markets move or how far they move within given periods of time. So when the buyers and sellers of options, who are mainly professional traders, when they're buying and selling the options and therefore setting the price of the option, inherent in what they're willing to buy and sell it for is the risk they're willing to take based on how far these markets will move. So in effect, this current implied volatility number, we could call it a reflection of professional traders' opinions. So again, the annualized number, the percentage shows us what we would expect in terms of movement up or down in 1 year as a percentage. From there, we can then break it down and understand what that means in terms of movement up or down per day, per week, and per month. So again, it's based on professional traders' opinions as to the movement that we could expect on these markets. Once we've done that, we'll come down and have a look at upcoming news that might impact us this week. But let's go up and start. Just to say, I've noticed that this, for whatever reason, didn't format correctly. So apologies for that. The numbers are correct. It's just not showing in as sort of nice a way as it should be. So yeah, that's a formatting issue, but the numbers are still valid. Okay, so we're going to start with the S&P, and we're going to look at SPX.X. That is the first market that we're going to look at. So the SPX.X is the symbol for the index for the S&P on TradeStation. Now we see down here, this is our Auto Climate app. So the Auto Climate app tells us one of three things. We either have a thick blue dot, like we have here, which tells us we're in a confirmed upwards climate. We're in a confirmed move to the upside, we're in a confirmed upwards trend, and we have probabilities to the upside. That's the most important thing. If it's a thick red dot, then it means that we're in a confirmed downwards climate, confirmed downwards trend, probabilities to the downside. Or it could be that it's a thin dot of either color. If it's a thin dot, it doesn't matter the color still tells us the direction, but the fact that it's thin is essentially telling us that there are less probabilities and therefore probably worth keeping away from that market and looking at other opportunities. So in this example here, we see a thick blue dot telling us confirmed upwards climate, probabilities to the upside. Now, we also have our closest stack of buy orders just here. That's shown to us by the Auto UFO app, showing us there as a green sort of flying saucer, showing us there those unfilled buy orders. The numbers for that are 3294.61 to 3284.53. Now, we actually have no sell UFOs. We have just about hit all-time highs, not exactly, but we are now at a place where we have no sell orders above us, and so the app obviously can't pick it up because they're not there. So for the time being, we have no sell UFOs above us, simply buy UFOs below us. Okay, so we are in an upwards climate. We see that here with our green arrow pointing upwards. That's how we show it on the newsletter. Now, we can normally expect that the S&P would go up for 11 candles in a row on a daily chart. By the way, whatever those numbers are to the right-hand side, I'm going to round them up. So basically add one to whatever those numbers are. Whatever the decimal place is, I'm rounding up. So normally, the S&P would go up for 11 candles on a daily chart, and we are on candle number 10. meaning that we are coming to the end of what is statistically likely to happen in these markets. Now, of course, if you've joined me on these overviews before, you'll know that we, of course, have situations where we surpass what goes on normally. You know, sometimes we can go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times overextended to a particular direction, either up or down, and fall outside of probabilities. That can happen. But again, it's not probable. It lacks statistical advantage. And so we want to put as many odds and probabilities on our side as possible. And that's why we look at our propagating figures to see, okay, we have a confirmed upwards climate, but how long can we expect that to continue based on statistics? So based on statistics, we've got about a day left. Again, not to say we won't surpass it, but again, probability-wise, we have about a day left in the movement to the upside. Okay, just coming down here to understand movement, volatility on the S&P. We're using VIX.X. That's where we get that's the symbol that we use where we get the data from. And here we see that we would expect a movement up or down in 1 year of 22.45%, which means in 1 day, we expect a movement up or down of 47.81 points. In 1 week, a movement up or down of 105.24 points. And in 1 month, a movement up or down of 219.07 points. Okay, so that's the S&P. Let's move on to the next market. We're looking at oil, and we're looking at CL. That is the continuous futures contract for oil, at CL. Okay, I just need to squidge this a little bit for us to see what we need to see. Maybe I can unsquidge it a bit. There we go. Brilliant. So we have, once again, a thick blue dot, a confirmed upwards climate, probabilities to the upside. We have our closest stack of buy orders here, 26.03 to 25.52. In fact, it's just nestled on top of another one. We've got 2 overlapping each other there. Then we have our closest stack of sell orders at 53.55 to 55.43. That's showed there by our red UFO, by the sell UFO. As we can see, we're pretty much in the middle of nowhere when it comes to UFOs. We're not close to big stacks of buy or sell orders, maybe slightly closer to the sell orders, but not by much. Definitely not close enough to feel an impact from those orders at the moment. Now, in terms of movement to the upside, we had a confirmed upwards climate. How long can we expect that to happen? So usually oil would go up for 7 candles on a daily chart, and we're on candle number 3. So once again, we have probabilities telling us that we're likely to see a continued move to the upside. Again, not definite or guaranteed, just probable, statistically likely to happen. Okay, so in terms of volatility on oil, we look at OVX.X, and we see from that that we would expect a movement up or down in 1 year on oil of 34.74%, meaning in 1 day, a movement up or down of 0.93 points. In a week, a movement up or down of 2.05 points. And in a month, a movement up or down of 4.27 points. Okay, so that's oil. Moving on to the next market, we're going to look at gold. So we're using at GC. So once again, that's the continuous futures contract there for gold at GC. Okay, so we see on the bottom here with our Auto Climate app, we now have a thick red dot, which tells us that we have probabilities to the downside, downwards trend, downwards environment, and probabilities to the downside. Now, when it comes to our orders, we have a big stack of buy orders here, as highlighted to us there by the Auto UFO app. We can see the numbers there are 1836.7 to 1825.9. Closest stack of sell orders is up here, 2039.7 to 2060.8. And at the moment, we're kind of in between them, so not close to either one of them. Okay, so normally we would expect gold to go down for 3 candles, and we're on candle number 2. So again, statistically likely to have 1 more day worth of downwards movement. However, we were going up for a very, very, very long time. We didn't have any sell UFOs, and now we're starting to see them come into the market. So potentially we'll go past that. We'll see. But based on statistics, we are, coming to the end of what would be an average, quite small move to the downside, normally 3 candles, and we're on candle number 2. Okay, so in terms of movement on gold, we expect a movement up or down in 1 year of 25.85%. And we're using GVZ.X or GVZ.X in order to get those figures. Means in a day, we expect a movement up or down of 31.6 points. In a week, I normally use green for the week. There you go. In a week, a movement up or down of 69.6 points. And in a month, a movement up or down of 145 points. Okay, so last market, we're now going to look at the euro versus the US dollar. That is the spot Forex currency pair. So euro USD. Okay, so I'm just going to move this a little bit so we can see it a bit better. So we can see here, once again, a thick blue dot, confirmed upwards climate, probabilities to the upside. Closest stack of buy orders is here, 1.1597 to 1.1507. I've just rounded that where it needs to be with the pip. Closest stack of sell orders, we are inside that stack of sell orders at the moment. That's 1.1862 to 1.1917. Now, again, like we've just said, we are just inside this stack of sell orders, not yet hit the meat of them, not yet hit that inner circle. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when that does happen. And just to point out, of course, we have multiple buy orders on top of each other. We have very many stacks of buy orders, one on top of the other, and we've seen them do exactly what we expect buy orders to do. So here we had a buy UFO, price went up, came in, hit the buy UFO, went up, came back, hit the buy UFO, went up. That's what we expect buy UFOs to do, is push price to the upside. We expect sell UFOs to push price to the downside. So at the moment, we have a confirmed upwards climate, probabilities to the upside, many buy UFOs beneath us, but we've just hit a big stack of sell orders, which are usually likely to push price down. So we've got two forces there playing off against each other. It'll be interesting to see which one wins. Now, when it comes to the expectation of our move to an upside, normally the euro versus the US dollar would go up for 5 candles in a row, and we are on candle number 1. So we have statistical probability of continuing that move to the upside. Although, like we just said, we have just hit a big stack of sell orders. So again, different forces there fighting against each other, buy orders versus sell orders. Whoever has the most will win and push price either continuously to the upside or turn price and push it down. Okay, so in terms of volatility, what can we expect in terms of movement? We use EVZ.X or EVZ.X, and we expect a movement there in a year up or down of 7.97%. Meaning in one day, we expect a movement up or down of 59 pips. In a month, a movement up or down of 131 pips. Sorry, that was in a week. And in a month, a movement up or down of 272 points. Okay, so volatility gives us an idea of how far we expect prices to move within given periods of time based on professional options traders' opinions. Up here, from our climate and propagating, we can have an idea of in which direction we're likely to see that movement and for how long. And the nearest UFOs give us an idea of where price is likely to turn, where it's going to hit big stacks of orders and change direction. Okay, so we've looked at direct forces in the markets. What I mean by that is that the most direct force we have to push price up or down are buy or sell orders. That's it. That's all we have. Now, that's the most direct force we have in the markets, buy and sell orders. But of course, there can be multiple reasons as to why there could be buy and sell orders. So we also need to be aware of other indirect forces as well. News is one of them. Reports are one of them. Now, we go to fxstreet.com/economic-calendar. We filter here by high impact news and by US markets. So if you trade, I don't know, markets outside the US, or you want to look at lower impact news, you can go to that link and play about with those filters to just change the criteria that you're looking at there. Now, obviously today being Thursday, there's nothing coming out. Wednesday's already done, so nothing to sort of be aware of for that. Nothing to be aware of in terms of what's coming up apart from Friday. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. But just to show you here in this actual column, when the news comes out, when the report comes out, if it's something that we can have a number on, a figure on, then that figure is filled in the actual column. Of course, Friday's news, tomorrow's news hasn't come out yet, and so it's not filled in, it's blank. If it's a report or a speech that cannot be sort of numerized, it cannot be made into a number, then it will have a little box there that will say report or speech that you can click on, and then you can read it. Okay, so a couple more reminders before we round off. So if you want to join the fun and be part of our futures, options, investing, stocks, psychology, sharpening sessions, plus support as well, you can join us at tradictive.com/youcantrade. You can have free 14-day access. So try us out for a couple of weeks, see if you like us first, and then go from there if you do. In terms of the upcoming course, I said at the start that we have our psychology course. That's the next upcoming live class. If you go to tradewithufos.com/psychology live, you can learn a bit more about that. At the moment, you can register for any course and choose an additional course for free. So the second one you pick has to be the same or lesser value than the first one you pick. So if you go to the website, you can have a look at the courses we do and how you can put it together in such a way where you make the best use out of that deal, and obviously learn what's most relevant to you out of the courses available. Okay, so if you have any questions on anything, not just courses, but technology that we use or how we came to conclusions about things or technology issues, whatever it is, you can just email us support@tradewithufos.com and we are happy to help with anything. So obviously today being Thursday, for those of you that are joining us from within the Tradewith channel, we will see you in our stocks and investing sessions. And at 4:15 p.m. Eastern, my colleague Wayne will be looking at what did happen in the markets, which of these forces maybe won out today, maybe if we see the euro dollar hit that sort of meat of the sell orders, did it work? Did it push price down, or did price continue with the climate? So let's look at what did happen. What can we learn from it moving forwards? Otherwise, I will be back with you guys tomorrow morning. Friday already tomorrow. It's gone quick. So I'll see you in the morning. Like I said, if you need anything, email us. But otherwise,